which cow should be steamed up. In this case, not as in the drying of period, here we also steam in-calf heifers and also milkers. That means cows that were previously been milked and were dried up can be steamed.
Hi farmers, welcome back to your favorite farming channel, Farming with the CEO, where we say farming is the way to go. And on today's episode, we have a special guest, a guest who has been here before. His name is Farm with Paul, for those who know him. He is one of the professionals in the dairy sector. He's doing amazing work. And on today's episode, he shall be talking on how to increase milk production during the steaming up period. For more production, for more milk production. Make sure that you enjoy the show. Remember to leave a comment. And before that, you can check out some of our products on our website, www.agrihard.co.ke. We have mineral supplements. We do countrywide deliveries. You can place your order today on 0799675574. Now sisi kukumbuka ukulima ni fana. By Saja. Make sure that you enjoy the show.
Hello good people, good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're watching us from. Welcome back, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. The last time we were actually talking about drying off, and if you haven't watched the video, I'm actually going to put the description below for that you can watch what is drying off and where we left, so that we can be talking more on steaming up. And on this video, we're going to talk about what is steaming up, how we do it here in the farm, advantages of steaming up, and some of the disadvantage if you steam your cow on the wrong way. So follow us as we talk more on steaming up and how it's beneficial to our own cow and to the calves and the milkers in the farm. See you as we talk more on steaming up. Steaming up is the process of feeding extra concentrate to an in-calf cow. And when you talk about concentrate, a lot of people are asking, what is concentrate? Concentrate is the same as what we call the dairy meal here in Kenya. Now, which cow should be steamed up? In this case, not as in the drying of period, here we also steam in-calf heifers and also milkers. That means cows that were previously been milked and were dried up can be steamed. And also heifers that have attained the stage of steaming up will also be steamed. And this process happen in most cases it happens on the 8th month or 4 weeks to calving. But I will actually advise differently depending on the cow itself. For example, for a cow that has a very good body condition, I'll advise to actually steam for around 4 weeks. But for instances where we have a very poor body condition cow, how are we going to steam it up to ensure it also recovers and you also have a healthy calf, a healthy cow, and a profitable dairy cow that is going to produce milk for a long period of time? Why do we steam up our cows during the last trimester of calving? One of the most important things is it helps in actually growing your cow and repairing its body condition. For instance, you are milking this cow, and the moment you stopped milking, the feeds that you are going to feed later on will be stored, and these feeds will help to give the cow itself enough energy during calving and after calving. And why is it after calving? One of the things we know is a cow after calving, the appetite actually reduces. And when this appetite reduces, what happens is it consumes its body reserves. Now, during steaming, we feed it on the best concentrates and ensure that this cow has at least enough feed stored so that whenever it will not have appetite, it will have body reserves that will sustain its milk production before it gets back its appetite. The other thing, it gives that same cow energy to be able to calve. You know, it's not an easy process, so the cow requires enough energy for calving purposes. The other advantage is we are preparing the calf for the next lactation. And in this stage, you repair your udder very well. All the functions of the udder are repaired, and the cow will be able to maximally produce milk because it has completely healed. And the most important part of steaming up is the development of the rumen. And this is what happens. When you feed our cows on enough concentrates, that means those concentrates will ferment in the rumen. And during this fermentation process, it helps in growth of the bacteria that help in digestion in the rumen. And through that process, the papillae in the rumen will grow longer and taller. That means the surface area at which the digestion of feed will take place will be higher. And this will facilitate the cow from completely utilizing the feeds that you are going to feed during the subsequent milking stage that you are going to milk. The other thing is the steaming up process will also help you in actually the cow coming on heat again enough at an early stage to facilitate calving each and every year. I'll give you two scenarios. For a cow that has properly been steamed and its body conditions have been maintained, and a different cow that has a very poor body condition, the one that has a very good body condition will come on heat probably 45 days after calving to around 60 days after calving. And the other cow that has a very poor body condition, it may take even longer to around 3-4 months before it actually comes on heat again. And the moment that happens, that means you won't be able to produce calves every year. That means after doing your own assessment, your profitability will be low in running the same farm. The other thing that will happen is for a cow that has properly been steamed, it will be very easy to conceive and compared to a cow that was not properly steamed. Remember one thing is whenever your cow is producing milk, milk is the second last option. So the moment you don't have a cow that has very good body condition and you still feed it even very well, what will happen is it will first take feeds to maintain its body condition and give you milk on the remaining. Meaning the milk will be lower compared to someone who properly steamed the cow and was able to actually achieve the best from it. Now, there are instances whereby a farmer has two different cows. One of the cow that has a very good body condition and another cow that has very poor body condition. For the cow that has very good body condition, I'll actually advise for you to steam it for the last 4 weeks. For a cow that has poor body condition, I'll actually advise you to actually steam for at least 8 weeks. And this will help actually to repair the cow and also ensure it recovers its body condition to facilitate the next stage. See you on the other side of the farm as we use my example and show you how we do it here in the farm so that we can achieve maximum production. See you as we go to the other side and talk more on how we steam up. How do we steam up cows here in the farm? First of all, we start by assessing our own cows and we assess the body conditions. This is because a cow with a very good body condition cannot be steamed the same way as a cow with very poor body condition. Now, after assessing our cow, if we determine that that cow has a very good body conditions, we are going to steam it as if it is producing 20 liters of milk. And how do we do it? For a cow that has a very good body condition, we start by introducing it to maize silage that is full corn and also on concentrates around 5 kgs per day. And by introducing the 5 kgs and the maize silage, we are feeding this cow as if it is producing 20 liters of milk per day. And by this, the cow will be able to have enough energy, enough protein, and will be able to actually develop a very nice udder. And remember, if you're purchasing the dairy meal from the shops, this dairy meal should be a high yield at this stage. That means it's a dairy meal that contains at least not less than 16% crude protein and also have a balanced energy. Because as I told you, we should take care of the cow not to also steam excessively and it becomes fat. Because if your cow becomes extremely fat, that will be a disadvantage to you as a farmer and also to the cow during the calving stage. When it comes to salt, here in the farm, we exclusively feed on one type of salt. And because the same salt we are using in milk production is the same salt that we're going to use during dry period and also during the steaming period, what we do is, if a cow was consuming approximately 200 grams during the milk production period, at this stage, we divide the minerals into two. So we are going to give approximately 100 grams of mineral salt to the same cow. That means it also have enough minerals to help during calving and help expel the placenta, and by giving it halfway, we have reduced the amount of phosphorus and also calcium to prevent what we call the hypocalcemia or milk fever to the same cow. What if for cases whereby a farmer is actually using dry mineral salts? For that case, I'll actually advise the farmer to feed the same amount of salt when actually steaming up the same cow. Because when you have the dry mineral salts, it's already formulated for the drying up purposes. Meaning it has the required calcium, the required phosphorus to facilitate the process. So if you're feeding on dry mineral salts, I'll actually advise for you to feed approximately 200 grams. Not compared to for some of us who actually use the same mineral salts that we have to actually reduce by half, so that to avoid some of the disorders that come up with the excessive feeding of phosphorus and calcium. So whenever you are actually steaming up your cow, ensure you check on the body condition of the cow to know when you should start, when you should end, how much you are going actually to feed it. And for you to actually run it successfully, always consider knowing these three things. 1, know your cow. 2, know your fodder. And 3, know what you want in that business. When you combine those 3, you will be able to utilize maximally the resources available. What if someone will ask, what if for someone who doesn't have the maize silage and is exclusively feeding on Napier? I will advise the same person feeding on Napier, instead of feeding 5 kgs of the concentrate, to feed approximately 6 to 7 kgs. And the reason why I'm doing this is because a lot of farmers that I have interacted with, they do not harvest the Napier at the required stage. They wait for it to overgrow. That means it will be low in nutrition. And for us to compensate that, you are going to feed at least about more of the concentrate compared to someone who is using a full corn maize silage. So when you're using Napier, I'll actually advise for you to feed approximately 6 to 7 kgs of the concentrate to the cow to be able to compensate the energy and the nutrients lacking in the Napier compared to that of maize. Again, for someone who has a cow that does not have a very good body condition, what is my advice? My advice is to that farmer, if your cow does not have a good body condition, what you have to do is you will start your steaming early. For example, you have a cow that has a very poor body condition and you realize it's not big enough. What you do is we'll start at least 7 weeks. Instead of 4 weeks, now we start our steaming at 7 weeks. And we start by introducing not 5 kgs compared to as if we are steaming for the a good body condition cow, but at this stage we will start by 3 kgs. Now on the 7th week, we introduce the dairy meal to it, and a very good balanced dairy meal around 3 kgs. And as the cow heads to as the months reduces, we continue increasing the concentrates. monitoring the body conditions. This is for the cases whereby the body condition of that cow was not appealing, and you need to actually replenish that body condition for you to have a very nice and very well built cow for better calving, better milk production, and better udder development. So if you take consideration on some of these things, your cow will be able to produce maximally and to attain the potential of that cow. Because, as I always advise my farmers, if you have good genetics and good feeding, then your production will be very high. But if you lack in poor feeding, poor genetics, your production will be very low, and you won't be running your farming as a business. So make sure you follow those instructions, and you'll be able to have a cow that is producing maximally. Now, after we have started steaming with 5 kgs, for the last 2 weeks, we introduce what we call a vitamin. And this vitamin, we do not use the injection one. We use the one that we can dissolve it in the feeds or in water. And we feed the vitamin for approximately 5 days. And this helps if the cow has deficiency in vitamins, it will actually recover the deficiency and will help in udder development. Most cases, a lot of people do not feed on the vitamins to their cows, which I think on my own experience, it actually very important, because even the vitamins works in a vital manner in the production of milk, development of the calf, and the subsequent health, general health of the same cow. And for the vitamins, if you're using the powder vitamins, we recommend to feed approximately 5 days, or read the instructions of the powder vitamin that you have already purchased. In my own experience, I do not advise injection of the vitamin at the last stage, so I only advise for you to do that if the cow has already calved or before the last trimester of the cow. Someone else will ask, is it advisable actually to deworm during this stage? To my advice is, avoid deworming your cow for the last 2 months of the lactation period, to avoid stress that can also lead to even abortion of the calf that it is carrying. So I will advise you deworm your cow 2 weeks after calving. So for this period of steaming up, avoid injecting your cow, but in case it's necessary, consult with your veterinary officer, and also avoid deworming the cow at this stage, or also consult your veterinary officers for more advice if necessary, if there is much necessary for you to do so. So if you observe that, we are able to actually have cows that do not produce less than 20 liters and cows that achieve maximum milk production in the farm. And in the long run, after doing all that, we are able to actually have profit and actually see results of our dairy farming business. See you till next time. My name is Paul, and don't forget to follow us on all our social media at Farm with Paul. For any questions, any inquiry, you can actually DM or leave a comment, and we'll be able to answer your question in our subsequent videos.